Thailand is known as the Land of Smiles, famous for its vibrant Bangkok and sunny Phuket. But beyond those familiar things, you will encounter breathtakingly wild corners of nature. These are not noisy destinations, but hidden treasures for hearts that long to explore the original beauty of the land and sky. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue our journey to find the forgotten wonders in the wild. Hidden between the clouds and the northern jungle, Doi Inthanon is not only the highest mountain in Thailand, with an altitude of 565 meters, but also a place that touches the deepest emotions of travelers. When stepping on the moss-covered roads and the humid smell of the rainforest, we seem to be lost in another world where nature is still pristine, pure, and quietly whispers a 1,000-year story. Amidst the mist, two royal stupas appear like sacred candles rising in the sky, quietly welcoming the dawn from the clouds. That moment, when the light penetrates the mist and touches the top of the stupa, makes the whole space awaken in a mythical dream. Doi Inthanon is not only for those who love trekking, but also for those who want to be calm, admire the vast beauty, to see themselves as small, and appreciate every breath of eternal nature. And then, when leaving the cloud top of Doi Inthanon, we continue our journey to the south, where nature is not as majestic as the mountains, but makes the heart flutter with its hidden sacred beauty. Phraya Nakhon Cave. Located deep in Khao Sam Roi Yat National Park, this cave is not easy to reach. You have to cross the beach, trek through the forest, and climb over rocks. But it is this difficulty that makes the moment you step into the cave more sacred than ever. The light from the hole in the ceiling falls straight down on the Kuha Karuha's temple, a small golden temple lying quietly in the middle of the cave, creating a surreal scene like a mythical painting. The space is dim. The light quietly touches the roof of the temple, making this place not only a scenic spot, but also a place where souls return. Phraya Nakhon does not talk much. It just exists quietly, like a reward for those who dare to go further than the easy path. Temporarily leaving the sacred and quiet of Phraya Nakhon Cave, we head north to Phrae province, where Muang Phi, the ghost forest, appears as a world that does not belong to Earth. This strange name, meaning Forest of Souls, has somewhat suggested the uncertain emotions that this place brings. In the middle of the dry and cracked land, the stone pillars and sandstone pillars stand upright, twisted, standing still like petrified ghosts, carved by wind and rain over millions of years. At sunset, when the last rays of the day slant, the shadows of these strange structures fall on the ground, creating a scene that is both magical and breathtakingly beautiful. The space here makes people feel small and lost, as if stepping into some ancient memory that humanity has forgotten. Muang Phi is not bright, not cheerful, but it makes you stop, be silent and feel a strange and enchanting beauty that you cannot find anywhere else. Leaving the surrealism of Muang Phi, the journey takes us to the border of Chiang Rai, where Phu Chi Fa stands high in the sky like a spear piercing the clouds. When it is still dark, you start climbing to the top, passing through thick fog and the cold seeping into your fingers. But then, when the first light appears, the magic begins. A vast sea of clouds rolls below your feet, as if the whole world is immersed in a floating dream. From the top of Phu Chi Fa, you don't just see the sun, you feel it. The pink light of the first day dyes the sky, shining on each undulating mountain peak like a floating island. And in that moment, time seems to stop. Phu Chi Fa is not noisy, not bustling. It is a place to touch absolute silence, a peace that makes your heart flutter, as if it is the first time you know what breathtaking beauty is. From the top of Phu Chi Fa, we head south, where the sea and the mountains blend into a mesmerizing visual symphony, Phang Nga Bay. This bay, located between Phuket and Krabi, is not a noisy destination. It is like a vivid ink painting, where giant limestone blocks rise vertically from the calm turquoise water. In the middle of this magical landscape, James Bond Island appears like an exclamation point in the ocean, famous for its cinema. But in fact, it is only a very small part of the tranquil beauty here. Sit on a kayak, quietly drift past flooded caves, blue lagoons and cliff-hugging fishing villages. You will understand that the beauty of Phang Nga lies not in the hustle and bustle, but in the silence that tells a story. Every sparkling light on the water, every mossy crevice of the rocks carries an ancient breath, like a whisper of nature sent to those who are willing to listen. This is not just a place to see, but a place to feel every beat of the pristine world that lives forever. As the whispering sounds of Phang Nga Bay gradually fade away, we turn to western Thailand, where Erawan Waterfall paints a sweet melody in the green forest of Kanchanaburi province. Deep in Erawan National Park, this seven-tiered waterfall is not just a destination. It is a journey up to the sound of flowing water, leading past mossy rocks, clear jade pools, and ancient silent trees. Each level of the waterfall is a separate world, where the gentle murmuring sound blends with the calls of birds in the forest to create a symphony of pure nature. At the highest level, the water flows down like a white silk strip in the middle of the rainforest valley, leaving visitors overwhelmed. When you immerse yourself in that cool water, all worries seem to disappear. Only the feeling of being truly alive, touching the purest thing of the earth and sky. Erawan is not as noisy as the ocean, not as high as the mountains, but it touches your heart with an indescribable tenderness. Before setting foot on the misty slopes of Doi Inthanon, imagine yourself standing in a completely different scene, Phan Bok, the Grand Canyon of Thailand, lying quietly beside the Mekong River, winding through Ubon Ratchathani province. In the dry season, when the water recedes, this land is transformed. Thousands of round, deep-rooted stone holes appear amid the burnt red sandstone, forming a strange natural maze. The wind swirls through the holes as if whispering stories of time, while the golden sunlight pours down, making the surface here glow like Mars. Phan Bok is not a showy sight. It is a stone record of time, of water, of wind, and perseverance. Walking among those silent stone pits, you feel like you are walking through the past, touching the millions of years-old traces left by nature, and then realizing there are beauties that do not need to be extravagant. Just looking silently is enough to move you. After the sacred light in Phraya Nakhon cave quietly fades behind us, we head south, where Khao National Park appears like a dark green dream in the heart of the world's oldest rainforest. This is not just a conservation area, but the remaining pristine breath of the earth, where time seems to have forgotten. Chio Lan Lake, the emerald of the national park, is calm among the steep, mossy, misty limestone cliffs. Sitting on a wooden boat drifting in the middle of the lake in the early morning, you will see clouds gliding across the water, the sound of gibbons echoing from the deep forest and a world without car horns or city lights. Here, you can spend the night on simple floating houses, where every morning is a different picture of clouds, sky, and water. Khao Sok does not need to be embellished. It captures your heart with its silence, with the sound of the wind through the leaves, and with the feeling that you are truly living in a world untouched by humans. From the surreal land of Muang Phi, if we choose to turn west, where the misty roads lead through the rolling hills, we will come to Sangkhlaburi, a small town nestled on Vajiralongkorn Lake, where peace seems to permeate the air. This place is not as majestic as high mountains, not as magical as sandstone. but it makes our hearts calm with each step on the longest Monday wooden bridge in Thailand. In the morning, the mist covers the lake, the distant sound of temple bells echo, the monks silently walking across the bridge. Everything is like a slow-motion ancient film where time is not in a hurry. Especially in the rainy season, the ancient temples submerged in water will gradually appear when the tide recedes, as a reminder that the past is still there, quiet and sacred. Sangkhlaburi is not for those in a hurry. It is a place to listen to the silence, to touch the beauty of slow moving, where every breeze, every bell, is enough to soothe the tired soul. Leaving the quiet and nostalgic Sangkhlaburi, we continue our journey far south, to the pristine sea where time seems to have forgotten, Koh Tarutao National Park. Located near the Malaysian border, this archipelago is part of the Andaman Sea, but does not have the flashy beauty of Phuket or Phi Phi. Here, nature is the main character, and people are just quiet guests passing by. Long, unmarked beaches, dense mangrove forests, and mysterious limestone caves create a world that is both primitive and enchanting. Standing on the soft sand, listening to the slow waves and looking out at the dark green forested islands offshore, we feel like we are stepping into an ancient book that no one has turned. This used to be a place to detain political prisoners, but now it is a place to liberate tired souls. Koh Tarutao is not flashy, not ostentatious, but its wildness and silence make our hearts quiet in admiration. From the quiet sands of Koh Tarutao, we go back to the north, where the cool air and the scent of tea spread with each mountain wind. Doi Ang Khang, a hidden gem in the border area of Chiang Mai. Not as flashy as famous tourist destinations, this place is covered with a humble but enchanting beauty. Peach blossom valleys in full bloom every spring, terraced rice fields flowing with lush green, and the morning mist gently embracing the wooden roofs of ethnic minorities. In Doi Ang Khang, time passes very slowly. In the morning, you can stroll through the vegetable gardens, the green tea gardens. In the afternoon, sit on the porch to bask in the sun, listening to the rustling wind. The sunset paints a pale orange color on the mountaintop, making us feel like we are in a miniature European plateau. This place is not only beautiful to the eyes, but also touches the deepest corners of the heart, where we feel relieved, serene, and truly belong. Leaving the mist and gentle tea scent of Doi Ang Khang, we let ourselves go to the southeast of Thailand, where Koh Kood lies quietly in the middle of the ocean, like a whisper of nature that no one has disturbed. Not as noisy as Koh Samui, not as bustling as Phi Phi. Koh Kood is a place where the sea, the forest, and people live slowly together. The coconut trees cast shadows on the soft white sand. The sea water is so clear that you can clearly see schools of small fish swimming, and the tropical forest rustles behind the simple wooden villages. You can spend the whole day just lying under the shade of the trees, reading a book, or quietly watching the sun gradually set into the sea without being interrupted by any technological sounds. Klong Chau Waterfall, located deep in the forest, is also a place to cleanse the mind with the gentle sound of falling water in the middle of the wild nature. Koh Kood does not try to impress, because its innocence and integrity are already a miracle, reserved for dreamers who want to find themselves. After peaceful days on Koh Kood Island, if we continue to go west along the Andaman coast, another natural treasure will gradually appear. Laem Sun National Park, the hidden gem of Ranong Province. Not prominent on the tourist map, this place still retains its pristine and peaceful beauty that many other places have lost. With dozens of large and small islands scattered on the blue sea, ancient mangrove forests and white sand beaches without human footprints, Laem Sun gives the feeling of being lost in a separate universe, where the waves only whisper, the wind only caresses, and time passes like a thin dream. You can rent a small boat to explore the unnamed islands, watch seabirds fly over the flooded forest, or simply sit quietly on the deserted beach, listening to each wave crashing against the rocks like a deep breath of the earth and sky. Laem Sun does not show off. It is just present, quiet and gentle, like an old friend, making anyone who comes here not want to leave. And when we temporarily leave Laem Sun to turn east, where the mountains and forests meet the ocean in Sangkhlaburi province, Namtok Phlio National Park appears like a cool green oasis in the tropical heat. No need to go far or climb too many passes and wade through streams. Just a few steps and you will reach one of the most peaceful and fresh waterfalls in eastern Thailand, Phlio Waterfall. The water flows gently from the mountainside, flows through green moss and rocks, then pours into a lake so clear that you can clearly see schools of streamfish swimming around your feet. The sound of trickling water, the rustling of leaves in the wind, and the sparkling sunlight reflecting on the water surface create a simple yet enchanting space. No need for fancy introductions. Namtok Phlio tells the story itself, the story of childhood summer afternoons, of gentle relaxation, of souls in need of purification. This is not a place to conquer, but a place to calm down, to feel your heart soften with each small, clear wave. Leaving Namtok Phlio as gentle as a noon song, We follow the southern coast of Thailand to find Koh Lipe, a small island in Satun province, known as the Maldives of Thailand. But if Maldives is the dream of luxurious vacations, then Koh Lipe is the dream of souls who love freedom and wild beauty. Here, the turquoise sea stretches endlessly. The white sand is as fine as powder, and the sunset brings orange and purple hues covering the sea like a surreal painting. No car horns, no high-rise buildings, no urban noise. Just the gentle sound of waves lapping against the shore and wooden boats drifting slowly across the bay. You can cycle across the island, snorkel to see the brilliant coral just a few meters from the beach, or simply lie in a hammock watching the sky change color with each moment. Koh Lipe is more than just a place. It is a place for the heart to rest, for memories to preserve the simplest and most pristine things. When we have soaked in the sweet sea sunshine of Koh Lipe, our hearts gently urge us to head north, where Doi Mon Chong rises like an epic in the mountains of Chiang Mai. Nestled in the Khoi Reserve, this is not a destination for those in a hurry. The journey to conquer Doi Mon Chong is a steep climb among old forests, wild flowers and strong winds, where every step is soaked with sweat and passion. When we reach the Golden Lion Peak, a rocky outcrop jutting out into the sea of clouds, the scene that appears makes us speechless. The clouds roll below, the endless mountain ranges, and the golden late afternoon sunlight covers the vast space. Here, the sky is almost within reach, and all worries seem to melt into the mountain wind. Doi Mon Chong does not promise ease, but it offers the ultimate emotional reward, making people exclaim, "There are beauties that can only be truly touched when the knees are tired." The majestic echoes of Doi Mon Chong still linger in every breath. We continue along the green mountain road of Chiang Mai to find another masterpiece, Mae Ya Waterfall, one of the most beautiful waterfalls in northern Thailand. Hidden in the heart of Doi Inthanon National Park, Mae Ya is not a place you come across by chance. It is a lyrical appointment with nature, where water falls from a height of more than 250 meters over dozens of stone floors, creating white foam like a giant silk strip hanging from the sky. The sound of the water is not noisy but gentle, like a lullaby to the mountains and forests in the middle of a windless afternoon. You can sit next to large rocks, watch the clear water flow past your feet, and let time temporarily fall into oblivion. That space, cool, sparkling and pristine, makes people feel small in the midst of such vast beauty, and from there, their hearts suddenly become strangely peaceful. Before our steps take us to the top of the clouds of Doi Inthanon, let's start our journey in the southern land, where the tropical forest whispers ancient secrets, and the emerald pool quietly appears like a green gem hidden in the deep forest of Krabi. No noise, no crowded tourists. This place is a quiet moment of nature, where the spring water is so clear that you can see through the bottom, sparkling with emerald color under the sunlight. To get here, you have to walk through the primeval forest, listening to the sound of falling leaves and the birds calling each other above. But when the light opens up on the lake lying quietly among the trees, all the tired steps seem to disappear. Dip your feet into the natural warm water, and you will feel like you have been washed away from the dust of the world, from your worries. Emerald Pool does not promise dramatic adventure, but invites you with pure peace, as if nature wants you to stop, take a deep breath, and remember that life can be so beautiful when you choose to slow down in the green forest. After the trembling steps on the snow slopes of Sigunyang, we find the gentleness of the ocean. At Kabira Bay, a small bay on Ishigaki Island, Japan. If Sigunyang is a symbol of challenge and strength, then Kabira is a gentle lullaby of nature, where all stress seems to melt away with each wave crashing onto the pristine white sand. The seawater here has a beautiful turquoise color, changing according to the sunlight and viewing angle, sometimes as clear as crystal, sometimes as dark as a silent gem. But what makes Kabira Bay special is not just the visual beauty, but the feeling of absolute serenity when standing and watching the calm water reflecting the open sky. Below is a rich ecosystem with more than 250 species of fish and coral reefs whispering stories of the sea. This is also the place where precious black pearls are produced, a symbol of beauty nurtured in silence. Kabira Bay does not take your breath away with its magnificence, but makes you want to breathe deeply, to slow down, and be grateful. From the calm pearl waters of Kabira Bay, we continue to drift south, where small islands are quietly scattered in the middle of the Java Sea, like blue dots on the vast ocean, the Karimunjawa archipelago of Indonesia. Not too famous, not noisy with tourists, this place is a gentle whisper of nature reserved for those who take the time to listen. With 27 islands surrounded by colorful coral reefs and white sand beaches, Karimunjawa appears like a pristine world untouched by haste. The seawater is so clear that you can see the bottom, schools of small fish swimming among the coral clusters as if dancing in a dream. On the shore, the simple huts and the gentle smiles of the people seem to invite Forget the world outside for a while. Karimun Jawa does not need to be ostentatious to become beautiful, because its peace, cleanliness, and simplicity are precious gifts that not every place can give to the heart of a tired traveler. Leaving the peaceful and pristine Karimun Jawa, we head east to Indonesia, to the Banda Islands, a small archipelago in the Banda Sea, which used to be the center of the world. Different from the quietness of the usual islands, Banda contains within itself the fierce waves of history, where nutmeg, a seemingly simple spice, once caused European empires to fight for blood. In the 16th to 17th centuries, this was the golden land of Dutch, English, and Portuguese merchants, where bloody wars took place to gain control of a commodity more precious than gold at that time. Today, the ruins of ancient forts, churches, and warehouses still dot the island, silent reminders of a turbulent past. But amid all this, Banda retains its wild charm. Colorful coral reefs, wooden boats drifting gently in the wind, and the slow pace of life of its people, as if time had stood still. Banda is not just a place to explore, it is a place to listen. The sound of the sea, the sound of history, and the whispers of spices that once shook the world. From Banda, where history still echoes in every ancient stone, we leave the salty ocean to find another, much quieter and more mysterious flow, the Hinatuan Enchanted River in the southern Philippines. It is not a big river, it does not roar or roll, but this river makes anyone standing in front of it hold their breath, because of its surreal beauty, as if it came from a dream. The river water is a deep turquoise color that seems to have no bottom. Despite many surveys, the source of the flow is still a mystery, as if the river was not born from the ground, but from another dimension. The locals call this place the River of Spirits, believing that this place is protected by supernatural beings, and every noon, the fish in the river will disappear by themselves as if following an invisible call. Standing in front of Hinatuan, we see more than just water. We see sacredness, awe, and a raw beauty that no scientific explanation can take away from the magical feeling. A place that makes us believe that the world still has magic. If Hinatuan is a magical river with unsolved legends, then just a short distance away, the Dinagat Islands are another magical world, where nature, religion, and mystery weave a shimmering tapestry of life and death. Located in the southeastern Philippines, Dinagat is more than just a cluster of islands. It is a dreamland where the line between reality and myth becomes blurred. Here, people pass on the story of Babang Bangunggot, a dark spirit believed to be the cause of sudden deaths in sleep. Beneath the majestic limestone domes is Betaw Cave, where stalactites hang down like the teeth of ancient creatures sleeping. And amid the blue waters surrounding the island are hundreds of rare marine species that thrive endlessly, proving that life and myth can coexist. Dinagat is not as bustling as famous tourist destinations, but it makes people remember forever because of the mystery, because of the feeling of standing on a land where the myth never ends. Leaving the legends whispered among the Dinagat limestone, we head south to Mindanao, where the ocean opens up to an island that seems to be still sleeping in the tropical sun. Balut Island. Not prominent on the tourist map, not crowded or noisy, Balut is like an intact piece of nature, wild, quiet, and profound. This is one of the most important breeding sites for green sea turtles, a species that is gradually disappearing from the planet. During the breeding season, the fine white sand beaches become the place where mother turtles quietly lay their eggs and then disappear into the waves. The tiny, fragile hatchlings will find their way to the sea by themselves in the sunset. A fragile but hopeful journey. Balut is not only a place with rich coral reefs and vibrant marine life, but also a place where indigenous people live in harmony with nature, preserving traditional rituals associated with the land and sky. Here, every wind has a story, every wave carries memories, and when you leave, you will not only take with you photos, but also a feeling of touching the most sacred and primitive thing in the ocean. From the sacred beach of Balut Island, where life begins under the moonlight and the sound of waves, we turn to the mainland, to an equally sacred place, but belonging to another dimension of time. Phang Nga, an ancient temple located on the crater of an extinct volcano in northeastern Thailand. Built from the 10th to 13th centuries, Phang Nga is a perfect combination of Khmer architecture and Hindu beliefs, where every stone seems to retain the breath of the gods. But the most magical thing is not the exquisite reliefs, but the only moment each year. On May 3rd, the morning sunlight shines straight through all 15 temple doors, creating an absolute light, like a greeting from eternity. Standing among the ancient stone slabs, listening to the wind blowing through the 1,000-year-old corridor, we suddenly realize there are things that do not need to be explained by reason. Phang Nga is not just a temple, it is the still resonating heartbeat of an ancient civilization, the connecting thread between humans and the universe, between the finite and the immortal. If Upper Mustang is the whisper of civilizations hidden behind the Himalayas, then when you move southwest into India's scorching Rajasthan desert, Bada Bagh appears like a symphony of light, sand, and royal memories. Nestled in the arid land near Jaisalmer, the cenotaphs, golden sandstone mausoleums, are the resting places of Rajput kings. Not a bustling temple, not a bustling pilgrimage site, Bada Bagh is as quiet as a stone history book. Each dome, each pillar, is a chapter of life carved by the sun and wind of time. At sunset, the desert sunlight falls. The golden rocks glow as if they were burning for the last time, reflecting the majestic spirit of a golden age. One cannot help but be moved when stepping in here, in the absolute silence of the desert. Each step seems to touch the past, the pride, the dreams of the dynasty that have passed away. Bada Bog does not scream to be remembered. It just stands there, silently and proudly, as a tribute to those who have passed and left an immortal sky between sand and memories. Leaving the golden light of Bada Bog, the journey takes us across borders and time to a completely opposite world, where ice reigns, where time seems to freeze, the Hailuogu Glacier in China. Lying at the foot of the majestic Gongga Mountains, Hailuogu is like a silvery white stream from the last ice age, more than 25,000 years old, quietly carving ancient wrinkles into the mountains that people can only look up to in awe. Here, all sounds seem to recede behind the gentle cracking of ice. The cold mists seem to paint a legendary realm. The feeling of walking on the ice surface, quietly looking at the giant crystal blocks sparkling under the cold, gray light, makes people feel both overwhelmed and small. Strangely, in the middle of that icy ocean, there are steaming hot springs, where ice and fire meet, opposing but not conflicting, creating a scene like from another world. Hailuogu is not just a glacier. It is a living book recording the history of climate, a metaphor for the persistence of nature in the midst of change, a place that makes our hearts stop, then sob in silent grandeur. Leaving the icy Hailuogu, where time is frozen in giant crystals, we step into Shirakawa-go, a small village nestled in the White Valley of the Gifu Mountains, Japan. When the snow begins to fall heavily, covering the triangular roofs standing upright like clasped hands, Shirakawa-go village appears like a quiet dream in gentle white. The Gasho Zukuri houses, built of wood and straw, have stood firm for centuries, withstanding the harsh winter. Under the snow layer of more than 4 meters deep, the light from the oil lamps still shines warmly, like the hearts of the people here have never gone out. Inside, the warm breath spreads from the fire, from the hot soup, from the stories passed down through many generations. Shirakawa-go is not just a place to live, it is a symbol of the bond between people and nature, between simplicity and endurance. A quiet corner of the world, where winter becomes a memory rather than a challenge. Located on the banks of the legendary Bagmati River, Pashupatinath Temple is not just an ancient architectural work, but a place where life and death blend in sacred silence. This is one of the 4 most sacred Shiva temples of Hinduism, where people believe that if they breathe their last breath here, their souls will be freed from the cycle of suffering. Every year, millions of pilgrims from all over the world flock here, bringing with them faith, tears, and hope. The smoke from the cremation pyres by the river blends with the morning mist, creating a scene that is both tragic and strangely peaceful. Built in the 5th century with the characteristic Shikara architecture, the temple stands tall as a timeless symbol of faith and liberation. This place is not only a spiritual destination, but also a place where people are silent before their own smallness and the desire to let go, to be reborn, to be at peace amidst the myriad illusions of human life. Leaving the sacred smoke of Pashupatinath, the journey takes us north to Upper Mustang, a forgotten highland nestled in the shadow of the majestic Himalayas. This was once the ancient kingdom of Lo, a surviving memory among the wind-whistling cliffs and arid valleys. With an average altitude of about 4,000 meters, Upper Mustang seems to be separated from the modern world, where there are no city lights, no car horns, only the sound of wind and horses echoing among the mountain trails. The ancient monasteries stained with the color of soil, the 1,000-year-old frescoes hidden behind the dust of time, all seem to whisper prayers from the past. Every step here is a step towards silence, where people touch the boundary between heaven and earth, between faith and doubt. When winter brings a thick blanket of cold snow, the place becomes harsh and isolated. But it is in that harshness that the Mustang people live resiliently, preserving the culture and soul of a civilization that refuses to bow to time. Upper Mustang is more than just a destination. It is a reminder of endurance, of memory, and of beauty that transcends oblivion. From the peaceful, snow-covered Shirakawa-go, the journey continues to take us to another mountain range. But this time, a place where spiritual energy converges, where heaven and earth seem to blend in the morning mist. The Wudang Mountains in China. No longer a landscape of thatched roofs and white snow, Wudang appears with mountains winding like sacred dragons, hidden among the sea of clouds and the quiet ringing of temple bells. This is the cradle of martial Taoism, where every stone step, every ancient temple roof is imbued with the breath of asceticism, contemplation, and hard training. From the top of Tianzhu, the highest peak in the range, one can look out at the floating sea of clouds, clearly feeling the smallness of oneself in the boundless universe. Wudang is not only a cultural heritage, but also a spiritual space where people find balance in their souls. In the stillness of the mountains and forests and the breath of the ancient temples, we can not only hear the sound of the wind, but also hear ourselves. From the sacred temples in the clouds of Wudang, we follow the path of the wind to the west, where the peaks of Tien Son reach high as if touching the sky, opening up a vast grassland called Nalati. Different from the quiet meditation, Nalati Grasslands is a colorful love song of life, where vast grasslands stretch to the horizon, dotted with wildflowers and herds of horses galloping freely. When summer comes, the whole plateau blooms in the sunlight. The nomadic Kazakhs set up white tents by the stream. The sound of the flute and the singing echoes between the mountains, connecting tradition and the present. The space here makes the heart feel open, light, and free, as if each gust of wind is telling ancient stories about ancestors, about the journey to make a living in the majestic nature. Nalati is not just a field, it is a green dream that stretches across the sky, where people do not seek control, but learn to live in harmony and be grateful for every moment that nature gives. Leaving the endless green grasslands of Nalati, where the wind sings and horses gallop like dreams, we return to the Himalayas, to a valley that once held a peaceful beauty, then turned into a painful memory. Langtang Valley of Nepal. Before 2015, Langtang was a sacred place in the mountains and forests, where more than 1,000 species of plants and rare creatures such as the Asian black bear, snow leopard, and even tigers existed in a fragile balance. But then, the earthquake that year was like a tear across the sky. The valley was submerged in landslides, villages disappeared, silence replaced the sound of temple bells. And in the midst of that devastation, Langtang did not collapse. People returned, rebuilt, revived from tears. The trekking trails were reopened, but now not only led to beautiful scenery, but also to stories of resilience, of hope, of hope. Langtang today is not as perfect as before, but it is in that vulnerability that new beauty is born. The beauty of a place that dares to stand up, dares to tell its story through its healed scars. From Langtang, where scars become evidence of resilience, we step into another world, where rocks and clouds intertwine in the sky. Fanjingshan, a sacred mountain in the middle of Guizhou Province, China. At an altitude of more than 2,400 meters, this place is like an isolated kingdom floating in the clouds, where people climb mountains not only with their feet, but also with their faith. Fanjingshan is a land where nature and spirituality blend, from the untouched primeval forest to the temples perched precariously on the mountaintop, defying both time and gravity. Recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site in 2018, This place not only preserves more than 1,600 species of plants, but is also the last refuge of the rare golden monkey, a living symbol of things that are gradually disappearing. Standing on the top of Fanjingshan, amidst the vast sea of clouds and the deep cold wind, the feeling is not of conquest, but of letting go. A moment of touching absolute silence, where the heart can hear itself amidst the sound of the breathing world. Leaving the serene clouds of Fanjingshan, we head south, where the endless ocean embraces a small island with a magical beauty like a painting. Miyakojima, the green pearl of the Okinawa archipelago, Japan. Here, there are no temple bells or the sound of mountain winds, but only the sound of waves gently lapping on the fine white sand, the whisper of the deep blue ocean, clear and soothing like a lullaby to the soul of the traveler. With underwater visibility of up to 18 meters, Miyakojima has rare crystal-clear water, where sunlight penetrates straight to the bottom, dancing on the vibrant coral reefs and colorful fish. The space here seems to be frozen, not too noisy, not too quiet, just enough for us to breathe deeply, to let go of all the stress of everyday life. Amidst the warm sea breeze and the gentle pace of life of the local people, Miyakojima is not only a destination for the eyes, but also a place for the heart to rest, to remind us that the simplest beauty always comes from nature and peace. From the emerald waters of Miyakojima, we return to the world of towering peaks, where every step is a challenge to oneself. That is Sigunyang Mountain in China. With its highest peak reaching over 6,200 meters, Sigunyang is not only a symbol of majesty, but also a border between humans and untouched, pristine nature. Amidst the dense clouds and rugged terrain, few can reach the highest peak. Only about 3% of climbers have ever succeeded. But that is what makes Sigunyang beautiful. Not easy to access, not easy to understand, but always standing tall like a silent goddess guarding the sacred land. The ancient rock ranges, the snow-white valleys, where snow leopards and pandas still exist, make this place a door opening to the distant past of the earth. Sigunyang is not for the hasty. It is for those who crave silence, challenge, and unyielding beauty.